Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and today we can have a look at the GFS, the GEM, the ECMWF and the GFS ensembles. Now the GFS and the ensembles along with the ECMWF and the GEM are actually starting to agree now in the 10-day time frame that we are going to see some Greenland blocking. Now the extent of that Greenland blocking is still yet to be decided, however we are going to be seeing some big amplification in the jet stream with blocking heading towards Greenland, and we will be plunging into a northeasterly wind. Now how cold it gets again is a bit uncertain, and I'll run you through the separate different runs and our GFS ensembles, and you can see what different outcomes we could be seeing. So this is the latest midday GFS run. It's actually going to be staying reasonably cold over the next couple of days. We've got a cold northerly plunge with this area of low pressure. And you can see actually we do get some cold air down the eastern side of the country. And this could produce a snow event Tuesday into Wednesday. Potentially maybe into Thursday as well. As this cold air lingers across the east coast and these weather fronts move in, but they don't fully make its way through the country before eventually dropping further southwards. So there could be a chance there where that dividing line of the very cold air and the warm front, we could be seeing substantial snowfall along that. Now at the moment, a lot are predicting generally it's going to be right along the coast. Again, the coast is not optimum for snow anyway, so at the moment it's just really over higher ground of Scotland and northern England and northeastern England really, and there's potential further east and southeast there may be some snow, but again at the moment it's not looking like it's going to be happening with that. But there will be many more chances in the next couple of weeks, I will say that. So don't really look toward that area of low pressure. Most places will just be seeing a lot of rain with that. It's being a lot of rain over the next couple of days. Nothing like a massive deluge, but just on and off rainfall bouts. And then you can see as we head towards next Monday, so in a week's time, we do start to see the first signs of amplification and some Greenland blocking. Now, the GFS is going to take a bit of time to get the cold air in, as it needs to wait for this low pressure to sweep through the country before we start to plunge the air in from the northeast. Now at the moment, you can see big Greenland blocking and cold northeasterly winds, but it's not looking like it's going to be bitterly cold air, these -10, -15 ice front. It's going to be cold enough for pretty much widespread snowfall, especially inland areas. But we're not pulling the bitterly cold air that's sitting over Scandinavia, unfortunately. We'll be having low thickness, very low dew points, and we do start to see, potentially on the GFS, we do start to bring the -10 through towards beyond day 10, but it's short-lived before we start to bring Atlantic influence again. However, the Greenland blocking is still there, so there's a chance of that maintained strength, and again we are in the long time frame, but if that doesn't maintain strength, we could be remaining with the northerly winds, and even then with the low pressure rattling in off the Atlantic with cold air to our north and east, could be producing snowfall events, and by the end of the run, it's quite cold still to our north, so we could be remaining fairly cold, especially in Scotland. Further south, maybe milder air will come in. But again, this is in such a long range, it's very difficult to say that's what could happen. But at the moment, it's definitely looking like Greenland blocking coming off. Just how cold it gets is what's in question right now. This is the GEM run. So if we look at the GEM run, you can see we do have a very similar pattern, and we start to see that amplification in the jet stream. But it's much quicker to pull that low pressure through and plunge the air in from the north. And we start to pull in bitterly cold air from the north. And we do have that Atlantic block. However, the block doesn't get as far north. So what we have instead is we go to cold air faster. However, the cold air isn't as cold, or it's not bitterly cold. And the bitterly cold air is kept towards Svalbard and Siberia and Russia. Whereas in the GFS, the blocking gets it further north. Low pressure doesn't swing through as fast, but we have much colder air toward north in Scandinavia. Now both are going cold, and cold enough probably for widespread snowfall. But it's just really for those sort of coastal areas and the longevity of the cold, whether it's going to be like dusty snow, or it's going to be sort of wet snow. It's still that's what we're really looking at. But again, in the long run, still. On the GM, we've still got amplification in the jet stream. It looks like it's being reinforced by another area of high pressure here. So it looks like we're going to go into a maintained cold spell with this GM run. And the more we keep these heights to our west, the more likely this cold air is going to plunge further southwards. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that -10, -15 line get closer and closer towards us if we can run that on another day or two. Now, lastly, we have the ECMWF. Now, again, most reliable run. Many have thought, and statistically, it's the most reliable run. Now, it did yesterday actually predict more flattening of the jet stream. However, I can confirm tonight it is going for more of an amplification and a proper cut-off Greenland block, which is going to bring sustained cold conditions. You can see how far southwards the jet stream is getting into Portugal and Spain. That's how far south it is. And we are plunging into cold air mass. Now, it's not going bitterly cold. Again, similar to the GM, the bitterly cold air is still kept quite far to our north, but we're pulling in very cold air. And if we look at the United Kingdom level, you can see -6, -7 line coming through, -8, -9, -10 line not too far away into Scandinavia, and areas of low pressure moving around, and I wouldn't be surprised to see big snowfall events with this. Now, it's not going to be widespread complete ice days, initially at least, because the air's not that cold, but if we kept this sort of air circulating around for a good few days, we would start to see the effects as if it was a -10 or a -15 at 850 HPA, just simply because the air at the lower level would just get would get very, very cold. Even if we've seen the last couple of weeks, we haven't actually had that much cold upper air temperatures, only getting down to -5, -6, maybe even -7, -8 further north. But it's been bitterly cold on the surface at points, just simply because the air's been stagnant and it's been cold at the upper airs for such a period of time. So it's looking like it's going to go very cold, but not bitterly cold at the moment, at least. Now, if we run on to the GFS ensembles, we can see that it's unfortunately we only have the 6 o'clock run because the 12 o'clock run has had some issues, so only the operational runs through yet, and the ensembles are not. But it'll show probably a broad similar pattern. You can see that we do get a colder plunge of air by the end of this week. Then it raises up a little bit as more Atlantic influence comes in, before it plunges a lot colder, with the average going down to -6 degrees, -5, -6 degrees, with some ensemble members going bitterly cold. Now, considering most of the operational runs from the various models are going bitterly cold at this point, I think it's safe to say we're going to go colder then. Just how cold is really what we're looking at the moment. There are a few going bitterly colder, including the GFS operational at 6 o'clock run. Now, if we did go off like that, it would be widespread snowfall, and we've seen a lot of precipitation spikes there as well. So yeah, definitely widespread snowfall with that. Even to probably coastal areas, sort of beast from the east, widespread snowfall with that. The ones going maybe around -5 to -8 line would more be further inland, over hills definitely, lower lands at times, depending, but it may be a bit more marginal for regions, simply because it's not guaranteed the dew point will be below freezing. It's not guaranteed that it will be falling as snow, unfortunately. But again, it's still looking very promising, more promising than we've had in many, many years. I'm being sceptical at the moment, just simply because I don't really want to call a massive cold spell, and then it just not to come off. It's very promising signs at the moment, but you can't write off these milder ensemble members, even though they're looking unlikely to come off at the moment. Just a brief switch in the orientation of that high pressure, bringing more of a westerly wind or being undercut by more low pressure, could provide more milder air, particularly further south. So in the situation we're looking at the moment with the Greenland high, there's quite strong possibilities at points we do see quite mild air pushing into the south. Now, it could produce major snow events further north, and if that milder sector is further southwards, major snow events in the south. But it's still potentially quite marginal. So it's going to look like it's going to go very cold in the near future. Dew points, you can see, bitterly cold if it would load. Yeah, bitterly cold. Some going down to -10, which is just frigid dew points. So bitterly cold conditions coming up. Just how cold it gets and how widespread snowfall is something we're really going to have to watch over the next few days. Definitely think it will be pinpointed down, as I said, during this week, what sort of blocking patterns we're going to look at. And it's going to be very interesting the next few weeks, as with the zonal winds at 10 HPA remaining in reversal. So it's very much likely that we are going to maintain the prospects of continued blocking. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Make sure you keep up to date with my videos and the Met Office as well, as they'll be probably issuing quite a few warnings, I suspect, over the next couple of weeks. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'll see you again for another video soon.